Young and Restless 2-week spoilers January 12th to 23rd. Jack panics in total fear. Kane laughs with sinister triumph. Monday, January 12th, we've got Jack Abbott trying to get Victor Newman, Eric Braden, to swap Matt Clark, Roger Howarth, for the AI, but Victor is distracted by an urgent text and he steps out. Matt then tries to offer Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, a deal to let him go while Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, is cursing Matt, who says she's boring him. He taunts Nikki and Jack and says they're still hot for each other. Jack loses it and has his security people drag Matt back out. Then he presses Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, on getting Victor to take the deal, but Adam is in a mood. He's totally being Victor Jr. and blames the Abbotts for ruining their own company. Then Kyle claps back about what a bad fatherly example Adam is for Connor Newman, Judah Mackey. Of course, Adam's really ticked at that slam, but he's not wrong. Young and Restless spoilers. Nikki appalled and Jack stunned. Kyle asks Nikki how she's okay that Victor's destroying Harrison Locke's, Redding Munsell legacy, her great-grandson, knowing that the kid will inherit Jabot one day. Nikki is offended, but Kyle is spitting facts. I can't disagree. Jack also wants to know why Nikki won't just do the right thing and make Victor stop. The bottom line is she can't make Victor stop. Jack and Kyle threaten to let Matt go if Victor doesn't give up the AI, and Nikki is shocked that they would do this. Adam doesn't believe they will, but Jack's playing hardball. Victor comes back in and tells Jack, "You can keep Matt. That guy's your problem now." Victor then kicks them all out of the new ranch. Jack and Kyle are, of course, stunned that Victor turned down the chance to get Matt, but Victor makes sure to send people to tail Jack's security detail that has Matt, so he may know where they're storing him. Once they get home, Jack checks and sees that Jabot is fine. No attacks. Victor's text wasn't ordering something against them when he left the room abruptly. Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby plot against Newman Enterprises. Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, and Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, run into Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, and Kane at the GCAC, and Billy wants to know what Phyllis and Kane are up to because they look pretty cozy. Phyllis taunts Sally and Billy for AbbottCom doing nothing after that launch party. Billy asks again what Phyllis and Kane are plotting. Phyllis starts insulting Billy while hyping up all of Kane's accomplishments. Billy reminds Phyllis that Kane keeps doing her wrong, but Phyllis claps back that Billy's the one who always lets her down. She tells Sally it's going to happen to her, too. Kane's enjoying the fight and tells Billy, "Oh well, you provoked Phyllis," and they leave. Then Sally asks why Billy enjoyed fighting with Phyllis so much. Billy says he overheard Kane and Phyllis, and they are targeting Newman Enterprises. Sally wants to know if Billy wishes he was the one coming after Victor. But Billy claims he's just glad it's happening. He doesn't care that it's not him. But then at home, he calls Jack to tell them about Kane and Phyllis going after Newman. They're wondering if Kane had a copy of the AI, and Sally eavesdrops as Billy tells Jack he really wishes it was him destroying Victor. The AI attack begins as Phyllis and Kane hit the sheets. Phyllis asks Kane when he's going to attack Newman, and he says he already did it. He did it while she was fighting with Billy. This turns Phyllis on and the two of them go back to the Kane train, and they hit the sheets. He's back to being Dumas and Phyllis loves it. Meanwhile, Victor sits the family down and tells them the AI has turned on them and is gutting Newman Enterprises, and they need to find a way to stop it. I'm guessing he's going to get mad when they blame him, because guess what? It is his fault 100%. Diane's ultimatum, and Victor confronts Kane. Tuesday, January 13th, we've got Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters, asking Jack if Victor took the deal. But Jack says things took a turn, and they still have Matt Clark. Then obviously Jack's going to have to tell Diane about Phyllis and Kane and what Billy overheard, and that they're targeting Newman Enterprises. Diane's had enough. She's going to hit Jack with an ultimatum, and I'm guessing it's about him continuing to give Nikki the benefit of the doubt. We'll see if Diane tells her hubby that Jack should let Matt loose to wreak havoc on them at the same time that Phyllis and Kane are targeting them, because that'll distract them more on Young and the Restless. Young and Restless spoilers, the Newman scramble. Adam and Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, are on damage control at Newman Enterprises. Nick Newman's Joshua Morrow, out of commission, he's in a lot of pain, so he's going to be frustrated. He can't help with the Matt or the AI situations. Victor shows up at the Kane train to corner and confront Dawn, but I think he is going to push back really hard. I mean, Victor used the AI on Arabesque and on Matt's company, so it's not like he can go to the cops, and it's karma on Victor. Bottom line, I'm sure he's going to try and strong-arm and threaten Kane with no results. Tessa files for divorce while Nick spirals. On Wednesday, January 14th, Phyllis feels totally justified, and I'm sure it's about them turning the AI around on Newman. Victor's done a lot of bad things to Phyllis, and he just screwed her over on the deal with Jabot because he was going against Arabesque and not doing what they agreed to. So, eye for an eye and Victor's about to be blind. Phyllis gets in Victor's face and tells him Newman Enterprises belongs to her and Kane, and there's not a thing Victor or anybody else can do about it. I'm sure he's going to make threats back at Phyllis, but she's on fire, and they do have the upper hand. Nick keeps something hidden from Sharon Newman, Sharon case, and I think it's about the level of his pain after that leg surgery. Sally drags the truth out of Billy on Wednesday that, yeah, he still wants revenge on Victor, and Billy really wishes he was doing what Phyllis and Kane were doing, or is at least part of their takedown plan. Young and Restless spoilers, Nick takes charge. On Thursday, January 15th, Nick decides he needs to handle things on his own, maybe about his pain, maybe about Matt. Sharon supports Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks, as she makes the tough decision to go ahead and file for divorce. She's telling Sharon it's just too hard to keep going and admits that she just can't do this. I do wonder if Tessa is going to tell her about Daniel Romalotti, Michael Graziade. Victor and Nikki argue about family. Of course, she's wasting her breath. Victor will never, ever listen to Nikki. Noah's shocking discovery, and the Newman family crisis. On Friday, January 16th, Diane's pumping Michael Baldwin, Christian Jules LeBlanc, for info on Victor and Newman Enterprises. Of course, Diane wants to hear how bad things are. She wants the scoop on what's going on with the AI, and with Phyllis and Kane coming for them. Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, discovers something about Matt that shocks him. I wonder if it's going to be that Victor had Matt right there, and let him go because of his Jack vendetta. Noah may throw a fit, and Victor is not going to like it. Young and Restless spoilers, Victor scrambles. The week of January 19th through the 23rd, Victor is scrambling to save Newman. I think everybody except Adam may say, "I told you so," which will further enrage Genoa City reached an all-time high as the latest chapter in The Young and the Restless unfolded, leaving viewers gasping in shock. The normally unflappable Jack Abbott found himself cornered, vulnerable, and utterly panicked, while Kane Ashby, once thought to be on the sidelines, relished every second of his unexpected and sinister triumph. It all started when Jack, desperate to protect Newman Enterprises from an unseen threat, discovered a shocking piece of intelligence. Kane, the man he had once trusted as an ally and family friend, had been playing a dangerous game behind the scenes. Kane's quiet, calculating demeanor had masked a ruthless ambition that now threatened to dismantle everything Jack had worked for. And for the first time in years, Jack Abbott, strategist, businessman, and master manipulator, was left utterly unarmed, unsure who to trust. The scene was set in the plush, dimly lit conference room at Abbott Enterprises. Jack paced nervously, a storm cloud of anxiety looming over him. Every call he made seemed to hit a dead end, every lead turned cold. His hands trembled slightly, a telltale sign of the fear that gnawed at him. For a man who prided himself on control, Jack's unraveling was both shocking and, to Kane, deliciously predictable. From the shadows, Kane watched with a quiet, almost theatrical glee. He had played this game perfectly, like a maestro orchestrating a symphony of chaos. Every move Jack had made, every attempt to outmaneuver him, had only strengthened Kane's position. The truth was a bitter pill. Kane had orchestrated the perfect trap, exploiting weaknesses no one else had noticed. And now, as Jack's panic became increasingly palpable, Kane allowed himself a slow, sinister laugh that echoed through the room like a warning. "You see, Jack," Kane said, his voice smooth, calculated, but dripping with menace. "You thought you were the puppet master. But it appears you were the puppet all along." Jack froze, the words sinking in like icy daggers. Kane's eyes gleamed, not with friendliness, not with warmth, but with that rare, almost terrifying satisfaction that comes from victory over a worthy adversary. Jack's mind raced. How had he missed this? How had Kane, who always seemed loyal, managed to infiltrate his plans so completely? It wasn't just business. Kane's betrayal cut deeper than any boardroom maneuver. There were whispers, rumors, and secrets, some personal, some financial, that Kane had weaponized to perfection. He held Jack's fears in his hands like a sculptor shaping clay, twisting every doubt, every insecurity, into a weapon against the man who had long considered himself invincible. And Jack knew it. Deep down, he understood the stakes. One wrong move, and not only could his empire crumble, but the reputations and lives of everyone he cared about could be ruined. His panic was real, raw, and it made him human in a way that viewers rarely saw. No smooth speeches, no quick deals, just a man realizing that sometimes power and wealth could not shield him from the sting of betrayal. Meanwhile, Kane savored every moment. His triumph was not loud or brash, it was quiet, strategic, and infinitely more terrifying. He didn't need to raise his voice or make threats. The fear radiating from Jack was punishment enough. Kane's plan was layered, intricate, and as twisted as it was brilliant. By the time Jack realized the full scope of what he was up against, it would be too late to fight back. But what made this particular storyline so compelling was the psychological battle at its heart. Jack's panic was mirrored in Kane's calm, almost surgical precision. It was a masterclass in manipulation, showing that true power doesn't always lie in wealth or connections. It often lies in knowledge, timing, and the ability to strike at the precise moment when your opponent's defenses are lowest. As Jack stumbled through his options, attempting to patch together a defense, Kane moved like a shadow through the city, orchestrating the next phase of his scheme. Every alliance he had secretly forged, every ally who had pledged loyalty under the radar, was a piece of a chessboard on which Jack was only beginning to realize he had been a pawn. And Kane's laugh, the slow, almost mocking sound, was the herald of Jack's impending downfall. Viewers watching at home were left on the edge of their seats, torn between dread and anticipation. Could Jack recover? Was Kane's plan truly unstoppable? The tension was palpable, with every scene building on the last, weaving a story of suspense, betrayal, and dark triumph. Even the familiar halls of Newman and Abbott Enterprises seemed charged with a new energy, as if the buildings themselves held their breath in anticipation of what was coming. And yet, there was a twist, because in Genoa City, nothing is ever truly predictable. While Kane's laughter echoed and Jack's fear intensified, hints of an unseen countermove began to surface. Allies who had long been underestimated began sending subtle messages, eyes and ears that Jack had forgotten existed. The city, it seemed, was never truly silent, and even Kane's brilliant strategy was not without vulnerabilities. Still, the genius of Kane's performance lay in its timing. He had exposed Jack at his most vulnerable, at the peak of panic when rational thought was clouded by fear. And in that moment, Kane didn't just win the battle, he sent a message. In Genoa City, trust is a luxury, loyalty is fleeting, and a single misstep can turn even the most formidable player into prey. By the time the episode drew to a close, fans were left with images seared into their minds. Jack's panicked face, eyes darting, mind racing, and Kane, standing tall, composed, the embodiment of triumph and menace. It was a powerful reminder that in the game of power and betrayal, the line between hunter and hunted can shift in a heartbeat. In the world of the young and the restless, this wasn't just a story about business or family. It was a story about human nature, ambition, and the chilling satisfaction of seeing a plan executed with perfection. Kane's sinister laugh would echo in the minds of viewers long after the credits rolled, and Jack's panic would remain a haunting symbol of the fragility of control. As the week closed, the anticipation for the next episode reached fever pitch. Would Jack find a way to turn the tables? Could Kane maintain his iron grip on this psychological game? Or was this the beginning of a dark new era in Genoa City, one where fear and manipulation reigned supreme? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain. Kane's triumph was not just a victory. It was a statement, one that would shake Jack Abbott and the entire city to its core. And somewhere in the shadows, Kane smiled again, savoring every second of his victory, knowing that in the delicate balance of power, the real fun had only just once again on the brink of chaos. And the latest Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that the walls of Newman Enterprises and the Abbott Mansion might not withstand the impending storm. The spotlight is firmly on two of the city's most central figures, Nikki Newman and Jack Abbott. Both are about to face shocking betrayals and jaw-dropping revelations that could leave their worlds shattered. It all begins with Nikki Newman, the indomitable matriarch who has weathered more storms than most in Genoa City. However, recent developments have left her appalled, questioning everything she thought she knew about her family and her own moral compass. Nikki has always prided herself on loyalty and integrity, but a shocking secret is about to test her limits. Sources close to the show reveal that Nikki stumbles upon a hidden scheme within Newman Enterprises, one that threatens not only the company's future, but also the very fabric of her family. For Nikki, it's more than just corporate sabotage, it's a personal betrayal. She discovers that someone close to her, someone she trusted implicitly, is manipulating company decisions for personal gain. This revelation is compounded when she learns that this individual has been pulling strings behind her back, endangering the Newman legacy. Nikki, known for her grace under pressure, finds herself grappling with anger, disbelief, and heartbreak. She is appalled, not just at the deceit itself, but at the audacity of someone she considered family to orchestrate such a plan. Meanwhile, across town, Jack Abbott is in for an equally shocking turn of events. The typically unshakable business mogul is stunned when news surfaces that could dismantle his professional empire. Jack, always strategic and calculating, prides himself on being 2 steps ahead of his rivals. But this latest twist catches him completely off guard. It's the kind of revelation that makes even the most seasoned executives question their judgment. And Jack is no exception. Jack's shock is triggered by a revelation tied directly to Newman Enterprises. While the Abbotts and Newmans have a long-standing rivalry, they also share intertwined business interests, and any disruption in Newman operations sends ripples throughout the city. Jack learns that a key business deal, one he believed was secure, is teetering on the brink of collapse due to manipulation and deceit. The news hits him like a lightning bolt. Jack, who usually masks emotion with sharp wit and business bravado, can't hide his astonishment this time. His mind races, trying to process the implications and formulate a counter-strategy. But the more he digs, the more complicated the situation becomes. Tensions escalate as Nikki and Jack, each blindsided in their own right, confront the players behind these shocking schemes. The show promises explosive confrontations filled with sharp dialogue, raw emotion, and dramatic flair. Nikki's confrontation is expected to be a mix of righteous fury and protective instinct. She has long been a defender of her family, and seeing her legacy threatened fuels a fire that cannot be contained. Jack, on the other hand, is forced to navigate the murky waters of corporate warfare and family loyalty simultaneously. He must decide how much of his strategy to reveal and how much to keep hidden to protect his own interests. What makes this storyline even more intriguing is the potential for alliances and betrayals. Genoa City thrives on shifting loyalties, and viewers can expect familiar faces to take sides, for better or worse. Could Jack and Nikki find themselves reluctantly working together to expose the deceit? Or will old rivalries and simmering resentments prevent them from joining forces, allowing the culprits to succeed? The possibilities are endless, and the suspense is palpable. Adding fuel to the fire is the emotional toll these events take on Nikki. She has faced countless challenges over the years, from family drama to personal losses, but this betrayal cuts deep. The betrayal is not just financial or professional, it is emotional, striking at the heart of her relationships. Nikki's reactions are expected to range from seething anger to tearful vulnerability, providing viewers with a powerful, multi-layered performance. It's a storyline that reminds fans why Nikki remains one of the most compelling characters on the show. Jack's journey, meanwhile, is equally gripping. His stunned reaction is only the beginning. As he delves deeper, he uncovers layers of deception that implicate unexpected players. Jack's sharp intellect and resourcefulness are put to the ultimate test as he attempts to untangle the web of lies before it destroys everything he has worked for. Fans can anticipate tense boardroom showdowns, heated exchanges, and strategic maneuvering as Jack fights to regain control and protect his legacy. Of course, in Genoa City, nothing is ever simple. The intertwining of personal and professional stakes ensures that emotions run high, alliances are tested, and secrets are revealed at the worst possible moments. Nikki's appraisal of who she can trust, combined with Jack's stunned attempts to recover, sets the stage for one of the most compelling story arcs in recent memory. Speculation is already rife among fans. Could this storyline lead to a full-blown war between the Newmans and Abbotts? Might Nikki and Jack find common ground and unite against a mutual adversary? Or is this the beginning of a power struggle that will fracture the family and business alliances further? One thing is certain, emotions will run high, secrets will be exposed, and Genoa City will never be the same. As the young and the restless writers continue to build tension, fans can expect a roller coaster of drama, betrayal, and intrigue. Nikki's appalled reactions and Jack's stunned disbelief are only the tip of the iceberg. With every revelation, the stakes get higher and the consequences more devastating. The unfolding drama promises heartbreak, shocking alliances, and possibly even redemption for those willing to confront their past mistakes. In the coming weeks, viewers will see Nikki's moral compass tested like never before, while Jack navigates a minefield of corporate intrigue and personal betrayal. One thing is certain, Both characters will be pushed to their limits, revealing strength, vulnerability, and the complex layers that make them icons in Genoa City. The streets of Genoa City are buzzing with rumors, and the tension is palpable. Fans are advised to brace themselves for confrontations that will leave jaws on the floor and emotions running wild. Nikki's appalled expressions and Jack's stunned reactions are just the beginning. What happens next will define the course of Newman and Abbott family legacies for years to come. For those who live for high-stakes drama, The Young and the Restless is delivering exactly that. Nikki and Jack are at the center of a storm, and whether they survive it unscathed or emerge stronger and wiser is a question that keeps viewers glued to their screens. Stay tuned, because in Genoa City, loyalty is fragile, secrets are deadly, and shocking betrayals are always just around the corner. Nikki appalled and Jack stunned? That's just the beginning of a storyline that promises to leave the city and its fans in the bustling halls of Newman Enterprises. The air was thick with tension, secrets, and ambition. It was a world where loyalties were tested, and the line between ally and adversary blurred with every passing day. At the center of the storm, quietly maneuvering behind the scenes, were two unlikely conspirators, Phyllis Summers and Kane Ashby. Both had their reasons: personal vendettas, professional ambitions, and a desire to reclaim what they believed was theirs. But together, they were a force that could shake the very foundations of the Newman Empire. Phyllis Summers, the fiery and determined former CEO of Newman Enterprises, had long battled for recognition and power in a world dominated by the Newman legacy. She was no stranger to corporate warfare. Her sharp wit, persuasive charm, and uncanny ability to anticipate moves before they happened had made her both feared and respected. Yet, despite her successes, there was always a lingering shadow over her achievements: the constant manipulation and interference of Victor Newman himself. Victor, ever the patriarch, had a way of undermining those around him, ensuring that Newman Enterprises remained firmly under his control. Enter Kane Ashby, the sophisticated yet enigmatic businessman with his own tangled history with the Newman family. Kane's return to Genoa City had raised eyebrows and suspicions, but what many didn't realize was that he carried not only a desire for redemption, but also a meticulously crafted plan. His experiences with corporate intrigue, legal maneuvering, and strategic alliances made him the perfect partner for someone like Phyllis. While Kane's charm often masked his intentions, his mind was always several steps ahead, analyzing, calculating, and planning the perfect moment to strike. The alliance between Phyllis and Kane was born out of necessity, but it quickly evolved into a strategic partnership. Both understood the stakes. Newman Enterprises was more than just a company. It was a kingdom, and Victor Newman was a king whose power could not be challenged lightly. To orchestrate a successful coup, or at the very least to secure leverage, they needed precision, timing, and absolute secrecy. It started with subtle maneuvers. Phyllis, leveraging her intimate knowledge of Newman Enterprises' inner workings, identified key vulnerabilities in the company's structure. She knew where Victor's oversight was weakest, where his trust could be exploited, and where dissent among executives could be manipulated to serve their plan. Meanwhile, Kane began quietly rallying support from loyalists and allies, individuals who had grievances with the Newman hierarchy or who simply sought personal gain. Together, they were building a network of influence, one that could quietly sway decisions, plant misinformation, and undermine Victor's authority without raising immediate suspicion. One of their first moves was a calculated disruption of Newman Enterprises' latest merger negotiations. By subtly leaking selective information and sowing doubt among potential investors, Phyllis and Kane managed to stall critical deals. Each hesitation, each question raised in board meetings, and each second-guessing of Victor's judgment planted seeds of uncertainty. Kane's role was crucial here. His calm demeanor and seemingly neutral stance made him the perfect intermediary, a trusted voice whose counsel appeared unbiased, yet subtly nudged decisions in their favor. Phyllis, meanwhile, excelled in the social engineering side of the operation. She exploited her personal relationships, tapping into the ambitions, insecurities, and desires of other executives. Every casual conversation, every friendly suggestion, was a calculated move designed to shift loyalty and create fractures within the company. She understood the art of manipulation, the subtle thrill of planting an idea that seemed organic, but was, in reality, part of a larger strategy. Together, they created an environment where even Victor's closest allies began questioning the stability of his empire. But Phyllis and Kane's plot was not merely about corporate sabotage, it was also deeply personal. Phyllis, driven by a sense of justice, or revenge, depending on perspective, sought to claim what she believed had been wrongfully denied to her. Cain, on the other hand, had a more intricate agenda. His ties to the Newman family were complicated, filled with secrets, alliances, and debts owed. By targeting Newman Enterprises, Cain aimed to protect his own position while simultaneously gaining leverage over Victor and other family members. In many ways, their objectives were intertwined: personal vindication, professional dominance, and strategic advantage. The tension reached a boiling point during a pivotal board meeting. Victor, confident in his unshakable control, failed to notice the subtle choreography unfolding around him. Phyllis, armed with a dossier of carefully curated information, began her presentation with a poised authority that commanded attention. Cain, sitting strategically beside her, offered pointed insights and suggestions that appeared collaborative yet were designed to influence key decisions. The room, filled with Newman executives, shifted uncomfortably under the weight of this carefully executed challenge to Victor's authority. It wasn't just about power, it was about perception. Phyllis and Cain understood that in the corporate world, perception could be just as important as reality. By creating the illusion of support, highlighting weaknesses, and suggesting alternatives, they forced Victor and his inner circle to react rather than act proactively. Every move they made was calculated to destabilize, to provoke doubt, and to assert a quiet dominance that spoke louder than any overt confrontation could. Yet, even the most meticulous plans are never without risk. Victor Newman was not a man to be underestimated. He was intuitive, resourceful, and relentless when his empire was threatened. The slightest misstep, the smallest hint of collusion, could trigger a counterattack capable of dismantling Phyllis and Cain's scheme. But this was precisely what made their plot so thrilling and dangerous. Every encounter, every boardroom maneuver, and every whispered suggestion was a high-stakes game, a delicate balance between success and ruin. As weeks turned into months, the tension within Newman Enterprises escalated. Alliances shifted, loyalties wavered, and uncertainty became the new norm. Phyllis and Cain, united by a shared vision and mutual respect for each other's cunning, continued their advance, always careful to remain in the shadows, letting their influence ripple outward. The stakes were clear. Victory meant reclaiming power, prestige, and personal justice. Failure meant ruin, exposure, and a reckoning from one of Genoa City's most formidable forces. Ultimately, the story of Phyllis Summers and Cain Ashby's plot against Newman Enterprises was more than just a tale of corporate intrigue. It was a story of ambition, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of power in a world where trust was scarce and every move counted. Their calculated alliance reminded everyone that even the most secure empires could be challenged, not with brute force, but with intelligence, subtlety, and the perfect blend of cunning and charm. As the chess pieces continued to move across the board of Newman Enterprises, one truth remained undeniable. Phyllis and Cain were not to be underestimated. And in the cutthroat world of Genoa City, that was a warning everyone would soon have to heed.